It's My Nerd World, a self-publishing podcast, and I'm your host, John Justice. This week's episode is all about launch day. That's right. EMBARK, The Vanishing War, Book 3 comes out tomorrow. That would be Thursday. And I'm going to talk all about the process leading up to the launch of my latest science fiction novel.
My Nerd World.
And welcome to it. It is a self-publishing podcast, and I am your host, John Justice. Glad you're with the show again this week. And with a self-publishing podcast, what I hope to accomplish with the show is provide a little bit more information in detail for those of you that are where I was back in 2015 when I set out on this journey to write my first novel. I have listened to hundreds of self-publishing podcasts, and there are a lot of great ones out there. And I'll spend an upcoming show talking about the ones that I frequently listen to. As a matter of fact, just because I actually have my phone open in front of me, let me run through a couple of these. So the Christian publishing show, with Thomas Umstattd Jr. He's got a couple, by the way. He also has a fantastic one, a novel marketing podcast. He hosts by himself now, but he used to have a former host. There was another person that hosted it with him. The novel marketing podcast was one of the best ones that I'd found, that really provided a lot of fantastic information. So I would very much encourage you to go and listen to a lot of their back episodes. Also, I used to listen to the Science Fiction and Marketing podcast, which is still available. The Science Fiction and Marketing podcast is still available, even though they don't record shows anymore. But one of the hosts and authors, Lindsay Baroker, I just found out, along with one of the other hosts from the Science Fiction and Fantasy Marketing podcast, are on a different show now called Six Figure Authors, which I also recently found. Mark Dawson's got a fantastic podcast as well. And I would encourage you to go and find those other shows. What I hope to do with this show is provide the perspective of somebody who is starting out. Now that I have 3 books that have been published, I'm still learning and navigating the world of self-publishing. And it's one of the things that I have found missing from a lot of these other shows that provide a lot of fantastic information, but oftentimes you don't get a good idea of where they started from and how many books it took until they really took off. And that's what I hope to provide here, is perhaps the perspective of somebody who hasn't quite achieved the level of success that the majority of these other podcasts and self-published authors have. You are always open to, and I encourage you to drop me emails, ask any questions you might have, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. talkshownerd@gmail.com. talkshownerd@gmail.com, or leave a comment up on YouTube, and I'll answer those if you're listening or watching this on the YouTube version of the show. And look, I'll be honest too. This is also a way that I can help promote my own books. My EMBARK Science Fiction Space Opera series. This episode is going to be all about launch day, which is tomorrow. So by the time you listen to this, the 3rd book in the trilogy will be available. So, I would encourage you, if this is the first time you're listening, go back and listen to the other episodes, because it kind of all leads up to this one. This show is part of my launch platform. And again, I'm learning the ropes about all of this. So what I'll do is, on the show today, is briefly run through the final stages of getting the book published, talk a little bit about Amazon and their KDP, their Kindle digital publishing, right? Their Kindle direct publishing, and why I go through Amazon only as opposed to publishing wide at the moment. It's really because that's where the majority of readers are, and it's the easiest thing for an author to do at the start. I may publish wide later, but at the moment I'm sticking with Amazon. Talk a little bit about the process of how long it takes for Amazon to upload the shows. And then I'm going to run through a list of the things that I'm going to be doing for launch day and why launch days are so important. And I hope to make tomorrow's the best one that I've had so far. So let's go back to last weekend. We wrapped up, my wife and I, she does the editing on my books. We wrapped up the editorial edit that she does about, I guess, a week ago, about a week and a half ago now, maybe that, a little less than that. I went through and, well, once we got done with her editorial edit, I have a proofreader. And she does a fantastic job, by the way. Her name is Angela Wallace. She's a proofreader, but she also does a little bit more in sort of adding to the editing process, sort of a copy edit that Melinda does, my wife. And she's also really reasonably priced and incredibly patient. And she's been an absolute joy to work with. So I sent off the proofread to her. And actually, we ended up sending off the book in chunks. I won't be doing that again. We wanted to get the book out before the end of April. And I wanted to get the book out before the end of April. And Melinda was, because of, and I mentioned this on a previous show, because of the fact of this pandemic that we're all dealing with, Melinda was put in a position where she couldn't spend as much time editing the book as she would have liked because she was homeschooling our kids. We have a 17 and a 13-year-old. So what I did was I basically sent over portions of the book for Angela to go and proofread while we continued editing. And it was just, in retrospect, I hope to time things out better on the next book, which will be a standalone story in the EMBARK universe written in first person. Because it got a little confusing getting the portions back and piecing them back together. And you open up the opportunity for mistakes, and things got really, really chaotic when we got down to the ebook editing phase. But we finally got all of the book to Angela, finally got all of the book back proofread. Then I went through and I did another run-through after I approved all of her edits, Angela's edits. I went ahead and did another read through the whole book, and also did another run-through in terms of grammar and punctuation. It's a long book. The Vanishing War is another 107,000 words. EMBARK, the first book, was 120,000. Ended up picking up quite a few little things that were missed here and there. So I'm really glad that I added that to my process. So once we got the proofread finished and I got the final edit done, I sent the book back over to Angela to format the ebook. So on Amazon, you can do ebook, you can do paperback, and you can do an audiobook. With the audiobook, you go through Audible and their company called ACX. I will spend another show talking about the audiobook portion of it. I'm not finished with the audiobook yet. That will be out next month. I personally like to separate the two out because it gives me the opportunity to promote the book again when I go and release the audiobook. The ebook formatting, I have not learned myself yet. I've tried to teach myself the ebook formatting, but I just haven't had the patience for it. And again, Angela, who does my proofreading, does such an amazing job and such a quick turnaround time on the ebook that I gladly pay her to go and take care of the ebook formatting. We had some difficulty with the ebook formatting this time around, and I think it was directly due to the fact that I had given her in chunks the book to edit, and so therefore there were some weird little quirks in the text that ended up, some of the invisible, I don't know what, the invisible code, right, that formats the page. We got some wonky things in there that were keeping her from being able to separate the paragraphs out in the ebook. And it took us a couple days to actually straighten that out. And again, it goes back to what a great job that Angela does with this. Paperback formatting is a lot easier. You can go on Amazon provides you with the ebook formatting the files that you can just fill in. The ebook, again, is a lot more complicated. They also give you the paperback formatting, and that's a heck of a lot easier. You can basically grab their paperback format, copy and paste your book into that, and then you just have to go page by page and make sure everything is placed the way that you want it placed on the page. Then you create a PDF, and then when you're ready, you go on to your KDP website, because if you belong to Amazon, and you begin uploading and filling in the blanks and everything that's needed for all the relevant information for the sales site on Amazon.com. And it really is easy to follow. It was when I did EMBARK. There's not a lot of steps. The keywords and categories, which I will get into in other episodes, are very difficult, and I haven't quite figured out all the nuances of that yet. Basically telling Amazon where you want the books to be placed when people go looking for them. It's a very complicated process, and it requires a lot of tweaking, a lot of examination, a lot of patience to see what works and what doesn't work. And I'm still figuring all of this out. And again, I'll discuss this on another show. Once you get your book ready to go, you go through, and you know what I'll do? I'm going to go ahead and pull up my KDP page right now. And it's really convenient, too, because when you go into kdp.amazon and you go into your Kindle Direct Publishing, and I'm looking at all my books, right? I got all my books, my Kindle, my Kindle ebook, my paperback for EMBARK 1, 2, and 3. I'm looking at all the data right now. It shows what I have them on sale for. And then what you can do is you can go and you can make the adjustments. So you can edit your ebook details, you can edit your ebook content, your pricing, sign up for Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is, of course, kind of like the Netflix of books. People pay $10 a month, and they can read as many books as they want to read. You get paid based off of page reads. Amazon, depending on the length of your book, will determine how much each page is worth and then pay you accordingly based off that, right? If you have a longer book, you're going to get more page reads. However, you have to keep in mind that there are reader expectations, and when it comes to genres, length expectations. And these are all things that are, again, part of the process of learning. Science fiction books are a little bit longer. Then you can get into novellas, short stories, novels, and pricing. And that's why I'm doing the show, because there's a lot to cover. So once you get your book uploaded, right, you've chosen your price, you've put in the relevant information to be shown on your Amazon page, you've got your cover uploaded, you've uploaded your manuscript, you've uploaded your file for your ebook. Then the final step of that is hitting publish. And you can make changes as often as you want when it comes to price, right? If you want to go in and change what the text says on the page, what the text says on the page, you can go in and change that whatever you want. When you are publishing for the first time a book, a brand new book, it does take up to 72 hours for your books to actually post. And then even after they post, it takes another few days before everything is remedied on the website. So, for example, I uploaded both books at the same time on Saturday night. They did not get approved until late in the day on Monday. Now, launch day is tomorrow for me, but the books are available right now on Amazon.com. I did it this way because on Amazon, it takes a while for Amazon to catch up and link everything all together. So when your books first get posted, your ebook and your paperback are going to be in two different locations, and they will not be connected to each other. Then after about 24 hours or so, you go on there and you see, okay, there's now one page that has both links to my ebook and my paperback. Then you have to make sure that you add your book to your library. Once you add your book to the library, it takes another few days or another 24 hours to 48 hours for your book to then show up with your other books. So I actually released the book early, used it as an opportunity to promote my mailing list, which is important, and another aspect that we'll talk about on another show. I don't have a long email list. I have about 200 people on my email list, and you can only expect a fraction of those individuals to go and purchase your book. But I used the few days before the official launch date as a means to provide a bonus to my mailing list. So right now, all of my books are marked down. I have all the ebooks marked at $2.99, and I have the paperbacks about as low as I can put them down without losing money. So $10.99, $11.99, and $9.99. And it's really based off length. The shorter the book, the less amount of money it costs to print it, right? You don't get a $9.99 off the book. You're only going to get a fraction of it. Like pennies on the dollar. So on Thursday, I will get the books to the normal price. I'll offer EMBARK, the first book, as an ebook for $2.99, and all the paperbacks will be $13.99. And then for Treasure in Darkness and for the Vanishing War, they'll be $4.99. And you have to decide on your own what your books are worth and what your goals are. Are your goals to sell a lot of books? Are your goals to make money? Buying habits are largely dictated by the price of your book, right? Obviously, people have different mentalities towards books that are offered for 99 cents. You may sell a lot of books at 99 cents, but you're only going to make 35 cents for every book you sell. You may not care about that. You just want to sell a lot of books. If you're on Kindle Unlimited, a lot of people may avoid your book if it's at 99 cents because they're thinking that it's not a high-quality book. I've tried different tactics, and basically what I've attempted to do is, on EMBARK Book 1, when I just had the first book out, it was all about getting the book out to as many people as possible. And Amazon affords you the opportunity to have some countdown promotions where they count down to a price and to get people to buy your book as incentive. They also allow you 5 days a month where you can give away your book for free. And there are benefits for giving away your book for free. If you want to get your book in front of a lot of people, that's a great way to do it. I offered EMBARK one time for 5 days for free and gave away 1,000 some odd copies. Now, that was a benefit to me because hopefully the goal is those 1,000 people that got the free book hopefully will come back and purchase the follow-up. Or when you get the final book out in a series, they'll purchase all the books, right? So there's strategies. I mean, there's so many different strategies. And one thing I've learned is there clearly is not one strategy that fits for everybody. If you go and embark on this adventure of, see what I did there? If you go and embark on this adventure of being a self-published podcaster, you're going to need to experiment. You're going to need to ask yourself the question, what do you want to be? We talked about this in the last episode. What is it that you want to be? And then promote your books appropriately. Now that I have a full series done, a trilogy in a brand new series and stories that I want to continue to write, but a beginning, middle, and end of 3 books that tell a cohesive story. I feel confident in saying, you know what? These are big books. I spent a lot of time on these books, and people enjoyed them. I think they're worth $5 for an ebook. I think they're worth $13.99 for a paperback. And really, when you think about it, and for EMBARK, I'll offer it for $2.99. It's the longest book, but as an entry point, I'll be like, hey, this is a bonus. A lot of people put up their first book for 99 cents, right? Because it's the first book. It's not going to be as good as the other ones because your first book never is. And so, unless you're J.K. Rowling, I guess. But EMBARK is not Harry Potter. I don't know, maybe it is to some people, right? There's some people that really get it. But I decided, you know what? I'll offer for $2.99 as an entry point. And I feel that Treasure in Darkness and The Vanishing War are absolutely worth $4.99 for the ebook and $13.99 for the paperback. And when you think about what you're actually, and you do have to, at least I figured this out. I'm not a very good salesman, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a talk show host by trade, but it's different when you need to go and sell. I would never want to be a salesperson. But you do have to put yourself out there, and you do have to promote these things. And you do have to face the fact that some people are going to get sick and tired of hearing you talk about your book. But for every person that's sick and tired of hearing and talking about your book, there's about 10 people that never heard you wrote a book, right? So go after those 10 people that wrote the book and just understand there's going to be some people that like you, right? But they've also sick and tired of hearing it. I'm at a really big advantage because of the fact that I'm a talk show host. And I know that I've sold a lot of books because simply I'm a talk show host. And I hope that along the way I've created a wider audience and people that have really gone and enjoyed these. All right, so heading into tomorrow, let me look right now, actually. I'm curious because at the moment I've got my Vanishing War ebook and paperback are now connected, but they still had not been attached yet to EMBARK. And nope, they still haven't yet. So when you go to Amazon and look at it, they're still not connected with the first 2 books. But that should happen in the next few days or so. I hoped that I had timed it out with launch day, but I didn't. So with that being said, what am I doing for launch day? Well, for one, I'm doing this podcast, right? Because as an author, you do want to sell books. And so it would be dumb of me to say, hey, if you're listening to this and you like science fiction, there is a complete trilogy with a brand new book that was just released, available right now on Amazon.com. And for the price of an ebook of $4.99 or the price of a paperback at $13.99, you're going to get some 12, 13 hours of entertainment from each of these books. I'm basing that off of how long the audiobooks are. So the audiobook for EMBARK was 12 hours, and then the audiobook for The Vanishing War was 9? And I'm going to guess, for Treasure in Darkness book 2. And I'm going to guess that The Vanishing War audiobook is going to be right around 11. And I'm still in the middle of recording that. So apart from doing this podcast, I'm also going to be doing a couple of appearances on some radio shows. Some friends of mine that also do radio, Jesse Kelly out of Texas, and my buddy James T. Harris, who is in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to do a podcast, and I'm going to be on their shows. Zeng This is a pop culture podcast. My buddy Zenger over there, who I found through the Knights of Vader, and my friend Zach Weber, who hosts the Knights of Vader podcast. They have both been kind enough to allow me the opportunity to promote the book on their upcoming episodes, and I've recorded audio for them. I will be putting out a special podcast on my Star Wars feed to let everybody know that the book is available and what the plans are for the next Star Wars podcast coming up for May 4th. Along with that, I went to look at a couple of different promotional websites, Book Barbarian, Booksy, Readsy. There's a number of other sites where you can go and pay to have your book promoted. So I've been looking at some of those, but none of them really landed the way that I want. None of them are really providing what I wanted to do for launch day. I am running ads. I have a bunch of ads scheduled on Amazon. Some of them started yesterday. A bunch of them start tomorrow. To again increase the profile of the book for people that don't know me. I also have an ad that will start running tomorrow on BookBub. BookBub is a website, incredibly well-known self-publishing website, where you submit your book. This is what they do. There's so many people on BookBub that you go and submit your book for advertising on BookBub, and they select you for you to pay them to promote your book. Okay? And then that sounds weird. You get selected through BookBub. If they choose your book to promote, you pay them to promote it. And they have so many readers that you're pretty much guaranteed thousands of purchases of your book because the website is so well known. There's an exclusivity about it. If you've ever watched Social Network or you know the background of Facebook, you know that when it comes to Facebook, the whole part of the reason why they started Facebook and the whole idea was about exclusivity around Harvard, right? You had to have a Harvard EDU address, and there was some exclusiveness to it. BookBub has created that within the self-publishing world. People respect that website, and they choose their books so carefully. People respect the books that BookBub allows to be promoted and advertising bought on their website that it virtually guarantees you a bunch of sales. I have not been selected. It's a very difficult process to get through, and I believe that BookBub requires you to have a minimum of like 100 reviews. And I'm only at 62 reviews on EMBARK and 25 on Treasure in Darkness. Reviews are hard to get, and that's something that I'm learning as I go along. Even though the reviews have been across the board great for both books, it's just difficult to get people to go and review. And there's something that help with book sales. Like right now, when it comes to The Vanishing War, I don't have any reviews for that yet, and I'm hoping some of my beta readers will take the time to go and throw up a review now that the books are available there on the website. But you can buy ads to run on BookBub that aren't specifically promoted. So I did buy some advertising on BookBub that's separate from the books that they promote, in hopes that I can get some traction that way as well. I'm going to be scheduling tweets and sending people to my website. So the website is mynerdworld.net. I just had my producer on the radio show, my friend Sam. She just did a revamp on the website. It looks fantastic. And I'll be able to track how many people go to the website now, where you can go and click directly through to buy the book. So all I have to do now is say go to mynerdworld.net to go and buy the book. You can hit the link. It takes you right to Amazon, and I can keep track better that way of how many clicks I get. So I have 3 different Twitter accounts. I have the @JohnJustice, @TheMyNerdWorld, and then I have one that's @BooksEmbark. And I use the Books Embark one to strictly go and promote the book. I choose hashtags. I have a bunch of different ad copy that I write. I attach images of the books to them, and then I schedule them throughout the day. So as part of launch day, I'm going to be scheduling posts throughout all 3 platforms to really push the opening of the book, reaching out to listeners of the radio show. On our radio show, I'll be doing a post-show podcast, right? And you have to find your own outlets of which to go and reach out to. If you're involved in any kind of groups or clubs outside of books, if you're going to self-publish a book, those are the kinds of groups you need to reach out to. Because for every 10 people, you might get one person to buy the book, and that's somebody that bought the book. I'm really at an advantage because I have a radio show. And so we can go and promote that on post-show podcasts at length, and I can talk about it on the radio show as well. What else do I have planned? I'm looking at my list here. Scheduled. Oh yeah, and then Facebook. So what I did for the last 2 books, I do a series of live Facebook. I go on live and I just talk about the book, and I tell people, hey, it's available. Go and pick it up. I do the same thing on Instagram. As a matter of fact, as soon as I'm done recording this episode, I'm going to head on over to my display case of Star Wars toys, which I usually use as a backdrop, and record a 1-minute video letting everybody know that tomorrow is launch day for the Vanishing War. And then tomorrow I'll post another video. I did a live video today letting a bunch of people on Facebook know the book was coming out tomorrow, and I'll do another one tomorrow, and I'll do that over the course of the next few days. So let's wrap up on this. Why are launch days so important? Launch days are important because this is your best opportunity for any new release to get as high up in the rankings as you can, right? What better day are you going to have than the first few days of selling a brand new book, especially if it's multiple into a series, than on the very, very first day of launch? So that's why launch days are so important, because Amazon, if you go exclusively through Amazon, like I do, now you can go wide, right? When you go with Amazon, if you decide to go with their KDP, with their Kindle Direct Publishing, and go with Kindle Unlimited, okay, you can decide if you want to do that, but you're locked into a 3-month commitment that you can't sell your book anywhere else. When those 3 months are up, you're released from that. You can either renew and continue to do Kindle Unlimited, or you can cancel. You can keep selling your book on Amazon, but you don't have access to Kindle Unlimited, but then you can go and sell your book on other platforms, right? And there's a lot of other platforms that are available out there for you to go and sell your book on. Again, I've chosen for this opening trilogy to stick strictly with Amazon because they carry the bulk of individuals looking for books. One day, if I achieve a level of success that I'm comfortable with, I may try on one of my spin-off stories to publish that book wide to see what kind of effect that it has. And this, again, comes back to that category part of it, because I have a very good opportunity in actually hitting a number 1 slot in one of the categories. I've chosen keywords and categories in order to have the book promoted like you would in a library. I talked about this a moment ago. One of those categories is teen and young adult space opera. Now, it's a very niche category, right? My books are not really YA, but they are good for young adults. And adults, right? Just in the same way the Star Wars books would be. That particular category is a good category for me because I can rank really high. I'm usually always in the top 100, and when the books are selling well, I'm usually in the top 50. So, tomorrow on launch day, there's a really good possibility that if I get enough people to purchase my book on the first day, that I can actually hit that number 1 spot. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve tomorrow. The one thing that I'm going to be looking at through this whole process of releasing this 3rd book is if what I mentioned at the beginning of the show rings true. And that is, people are more eager to buy all of your books once they have a complete series in front of them. They can read from beginning to end. They don't have to stop. And I already have a little bit of evidence of that because I've had 2 different people email me today on a follow-up email to my book launch who said, hey, I've been waiting for the 3rd book to come out to buy all 3. I just bought all 3. I will keep you updated on this show, on how it goes. Shorter podcast today. I got a lot going on, but I wanted to make sure that I got a podcast out for launch day. I hope you enjoyed the show. And again, my goal here is to get an audience and then asking questions so that I can hopefully find the answer for you, because there's just not a lot of self-publishing podcast shows out there that cater to the beginning, that beginning author. And that's what I really hope to provide. I hope that I can kind of find my way to success in self-publishing and have this podcast be the chronicling. Is that a word? I don't know. I hope this podcast can chronicle that journey to being a successful author. talkshownerd@gmail.com. That is the email address where you can reach out to me. Also, leave a comment on YouTube as well. At the My Nerd World on Twitter, or at John Jon Justice. You can also find me at Books Embark. And mynerdworld.net. If you're looking for something to read, if you have kids at home, if you're an adult and you like science fiction, the series is now available. All 3 books, beginning, middle, and end, first, second, first act, second act, third act. It's available now in ebook and paperback and audiobook in the first 2 books. I hope you'll take the opportunity and go and pick up some copies for yourself, because I'd love to hear from you. And if you do, thank you. It's a way to support this show and have me do more of these podcasts, and leave a positive review up on Amazon. So hope you enjoyed the show this week. I hope you are staying safe and healthy. And I'll be back next week and let you know how the launch went. I'll have some numbers for you on how the sales went. Really curious to find out myself. All right. Talk to you again next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.
My Nerd World.